Counselor for the 90s, but his critics call him a high-tech quack. His name is Frederick Lenz. Channel 2's Marcia Kramer has more on the man and his alleged mystical powers in this Channel 2 investigation.
Good. Okay, come up, mate. Come. Say! For a moment, a wave of energy sweeps through their body, and they don't know where they are, what world they're in.
The man who claims to have the power to stop 5 men with a single sweep of his hand is Frederick Lenz. He calls himself Rama, and some who know him say his world is one you wouldn't want to be in.
It's sort of become like a zombie.
It's a world of Eastern mysticism, merchandise tapes, CDs, and rock videos like this one.
What is dancing?
And charges that Lenz is nothing more than a crafty cult leader who controls people's minds. Joe Zimhart is an exit counselor who has helped deprogram a number of Rama followers.
I just believe he's a typical sociopathic cult leader.
His scheme, 1990s high-tech all the way. His gimmick is computers. His followers are urged to get high-paying computer jobs, and the more they earn and the longer they're in, the more Lenz charges for monthly seminars and meditations. Problem is, many of his followers, seen here in exclusive undercover video, become his CompuCult.
I started paying like $40 and then $60, then $100. Then after a few years, it was up to like $600. And then very quickly after the $600, like within a few months, it was like $1,000. And then by the time I left, I paid one time $1,500.
This woman, who didn't want to be identified, says she went $15,000 into debt to the IRS because of Rama.
He at one time said it is more important to pay him the tuition than to pay your rent, your bills, the IRS.
Cult awareness experts say that over the years, followers around the country have paid as much as $2,000 to $3,000 a month to attend his seminars. And the reason New Yorkers should be worried is that Rama is again concentrating his business in the metropolitan area, holding regular meetings in Westchester County at the Placid Purchase campus of the State University. Cynthia Kisser is a national cult expert.
The problem with a group like Lenz's group, Rama's group, is that the members may get out of touch completely with reality, decisions about their life, their death, their finances, their family relations. They can lose total control of it.
Listen to what this true believer told our undercover producer.
Rama's is a full Siddhamaster, tantric mystic Siddhamaster, fully enlightened. Magic beyond anyone's comprehension, mine and everyone else.
And this is Rama's line, also captured by our undercover camera. It's the promise of material success.
Working every day at a job that doesn't pay much and doesn't have much in the future is really hard. Why not do something that takes away the pain? Why not do something that creates ecstasy?
Cult experts say Lenz rakes in somewhere between $5 and $10 million a year from his venture. According to former associates, that's enabled him to amass a fleet of cars and an estate in the posh community of Oldfield, Long Island, where his privacy is guarded by a fence and high-tech security system. It is to this estate that he has reportedly invited female followers for sexual pleasure.
He got up and went into the bathroom and brought out, well, he was in his underwear when he came out with a bottle of lotion. Then he says, I want to have you try to feel the energy in my body. If you can put some lotion on your hands and rub it and feel it on my back.
I felt very strange. I felt like I was wrapped in cotton candy and like I was in a big goo. And when he was talking to me, it was like his words were coming very slowly to me across the table. And I couldn't respond. I couldn't talk. And he knew. He seemed to know. He goes, oh, you're so high right now from my energy. It's okay. You don't have to talk.
Terry quickly learned that she wasn't Rama's only conquest. This is what her roommates told her after her first night with the guru.
They said, well, let's just say that we all have the same boyfriend. And that just pierced my heart. You know, it just killed me.
Well, Frederick Lenz's lawyer denies all the charges raised by former members in our report. He says his client is many things: a spiritual leader, a businessman offering courses in computers and meditation, but certainly not the leader of a cult. People who make those charges, says the lawyer, are spreading false and malicious lies to hurt Lenz's business. Tomorrow in Part 2, former followers tell how Lenz plays on their fears, convincing some he can give them cancer, AIDS, and other maladies by attacking them on what he calls their dream plane. Quite a mouthful.
Yeah, thank you, Marcia. We'll look forward to that report. Thank you.
It's both electrifying and terrifying.
He says he can create and destroy universes. He can give and revoke cancer by changing someone's cellular structure.
Took me a good 3 years after being out of the group. I've been out almost 6 now, but about 3 years out of the group, I still believed he could do that. He could stop my heart. He could cause a car accident.
He is Frederick Lenz, a New Age guru and alleged cult leader who convinces his followers that his invisible energy field, his so-called ki, is so strong he can stop pain and cause diseases.
If you hit someone hard enough with ki, which I will certainly not do today, you can stop the heartbeat. You can disable the brain function.
Lenz, or Rama as he now calls himself, turns followers like these well-dressed young men and women, caught by our undercover video cameras, into members of a so-called computer cult. He trains them to take high-paying computer jobs so that they can pay him ever-increasing tuition. But while his gimmick is computers, his hold over them is much more emotional.
It cuts you off from your family, your friends, and people you love.
Who buys into his shtick? Here's what exit counselor Joe Zimhart says.
The people that do have higher than average IQs. They are curious about spiritual growth. They are dissatisfied with the orthodox and the mainstream ways of spiritual approaches.
Again, Rama's gimmick is computers. But with Rama's people, the computer whiz you think you hired may not be what you get.
He has written a manual that explains how they should write. They should visualize their resume as a mandala. They should visualize what they have done, and he basically, I mean, in our society's terms, that's called lying. He tells them to lie.
We saw a number of resumes that had a similar pattern to them. They'd lead off with a summary proclaiming expertise in whatever the latest and greatest state-of-the-art technology was.
Computer consultant Sean McNeil has worked with Lenz followers. He says that by and large, they get by asking others for help.
The girl that I work with at Citicorp who was doing this was on the phone all the time with the other people in the cult, and she would use me as a source of information. She would ask me questions that were totally unrelated to her specific job. They were obviously, she was trying to help these other people. So basically it would be the blind leading the blind.
Rama's lawyer, Norman Oberstein, says allegations made by former members are old charges, false and malicious lies to hurt Dr. Lenz. Oberstein denied everything, saying Lenz is nothing more than a businessman and spiritual leader who has never threatened anybody with anything. But others beg to differ.
I think Lenz is an individual who craves power. I think Lenz is an individual who has found how to manipulate people to satisfy his craving for power. And I think he's an individual that may be willing to cross the moral and ethical boundaries that you or I might not to satisfy that power.
For more information about Lenz and his followers, or for help in helping someone to get out of the group, you can contact the Cult Awareness Network at area code 312-267-7777. That's 312-267-7777. Or a group called Lenz Watch at 818-594-7380. That's 818-594-7380.
Help is out there. Thanks,
Sure is.
Marcia.
Okay, Marcia, coming up now.